Good greetings, I'm Rusty Dog. Welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we're going to be taking a flight in this amazing Boeing 247D. And in this video I'm hoping to show you how to start the engines properly and how to navigate to a destination. Yes, right. As you can see, we have the front cargo door open. We're going to be taking a little bit of mail with us, and we're going to be carrying two VIPs out of Dodge City. Yes, we are literally getting the hell out of Dodge. We are currently here at Dodge City Regional Airport, and we're going to be flying to Hutchinson Regional Airport, which is around 77 miles away. No, it isn't. It's 101 nautical miles away. Yeah, it's 101 nautical miles. So, it's a little bit of a flight, but I'm hoping we can not only do it, but keep it in the air. Now, I want to just stress that this will be my first navigation flight. And you're probably thinking, well, if it's your first one, what the hell are you doing trying to tell us how to do it? Well, I think I have the method. I think I'm pretty confident with the method on how to do this, and all I need to do is put it into practice. So if I can put it into practice right now in this video, everything that I'm going to tell you, then that's going to be great. But I think I've got it, guys. I think I've got this. You'll also notice as well that we have a little sunroof. Yes, just in case I want to slow the plane down a little bit. No, that's not what it's for. Alright, so guys, full disclosure then, I'm having some trouble starting the engine correctly using realistic simulation. Okay, using realistic engine start. I am doing it all correctly, I'm pretty sure I am. But when it's cranking the flywheel over and it goes to mesh, it's not quite starting the props. So the only way I can get it going is to remove realistic engine start, and then I can follow all my procedures and start the engine. Engine malfunctions and electrical failures, i.e. fuses, I've removed those for now because I want to get more used to the plane, flying it correctly, and just getting used to how it behaves, how to maintain the correct pressures and temperatures throughout the flight. And once I'm comfortable that I'm doing that, then I'm going to start enabling all of this. And I will nail this realistic engine start. But for now, I have them turned off. Okay, so if we go back, I just want to have a look at something here. I want to see if it mentions oil pressures. It doesn't. Yeah, I know you have to maintain oil pressures, but manifold pressure 27 to 29. Yeah, it's just to maintain. Now I think with oil temps, anything, you don't want to be above 160, 165, I would say. I think you can hear that tick. I think you can tap those. You know, like you tap a dial with your finger. Come on, come on. I think that's what that is. Honestly, I'm not kidding. I think that's what that is. So I think this is oil pressure, fuel pressure, oil temperature, and then we have, where's the other thing behind here? We have manifold pressure for the left engine, and if we move that, now we get manifold pressure for the right engine, which sits a little bit higher for some reason, but anyway. I have noticed when the engine started, this dial will go down, and then you'll see this one down here, and the right engine will still be up here. but that's obviously normal. Air temperature currently sitting at around 64. This is your engine temp for left, and then if you move the mouse, because it looks like a mouse to me, that's your engine temp for your right engine. And then we have your fuel quantity. Now, let me just get rid of the yoke. Now we do have fuel on board, even though it's showing that we don't. And that's because you have to pull these plungers to find out. So let's pull those. And you can see the fuel in the left and right tanks. You'll also notice that this tank has got more in it, 135 against 70, I think gallons. Yeah, it says gallons on it there in big letters. So there, we're looking at around 70 gallons, and in this one we have just under 60, so that's 120 something gallons. Does that match anything here? I don't even know. You've got left and right main. Yeah, it does. It matches. Let's just pretend. All right. So you don't refuel from here, apparently. I mean, you can, I think, but I'm not going to. Okay. So I don't need to worry about the fuses, checking the fuses, because the electrical thing is off, but it's also a prudent thing to do is just go into the radio fuses and then unlock this fuse box and have a look at your fuses here. Just these upper ones, these lower ones, and the generator. These are your spare fuses. You just want to make sure that every fuse is intact and functional, and you'll know that if I use the right buttons. You'll know that just like you would any fuse by the fact that it hasn't got a broken stem. I think this one's fine. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. So as long as you can see the little wire, then the fuse is okay. This is a unconnected fuse clip, so that doesn't mean that there's a fuse missing, because if you put one in, it doesn't say it's going anywhere. It's just a spare one, so we can put that one back. This is your main generator fuse, so you definitely want that one working. Also, one of these is the gear motor, this one. So if that blows and you haven't got a spare fuse, you're going to have to use this lever to, to bring the landing gear down. Okay. The other box of fuses is the radio fuses. And if we zoom in on those, we can see that they're all intact, and these aren't going to blow. I can actually remove that one. It's unconnected. These don't go anywhere, these two. So we have the master fuse, we have the long wave radio, the VHF radio, and the dyno motor. Okay. So I think SW, as we know, is short wave, LW is long wave. Then we have crystal. Remember crystal radios way back in the day? But up on the radio here, we have CW, continuous wave mode, right? That's not crystal wave, just in case you were wondering. So, yeah, we'll be taking a look at the radio a little bit later. Now, bear in mind, this is a persistent state aircraft. So if you forget to turn buttons and switches off, and the next time you load it, not all, some of those buttons and switches are going to be in positions that are remembered from your previous flight. And as far as I know, there's no way to stop the plane from being in a persistent state. So, due diligence. Another thing worthy of note is that I have mapped on my keyboard the mixture levers and the prop levers. So what I've done is on the control, I use control and the square brackets. Just next to on the right of the letter P on your keyboard, there are square brackets. So I'm using the right square bracket with control to adjust my mixtures up and down. Okay, and then I'm using the same keys, Alt but this time Alt and the brackets for my propellers. And this is just so that I can move them up and down in pairs without having to fiddle one at a time. Obviously my throttle is controlled by my throttle, and the other important levers down here, which we may need to use during flight, are these four. So we have oil shutters. Now these are to maintain your oil temperature, so you have to be careful if they're going too far up. The temperatures, you want to start bringing these down to open the oil shutters, and that'll cool the oil. And then you have the carburetor heat, which controls your engine temperature. So if your engine temp is too cold, based on here, you want to be operating somewhere between 203 and 350 Fahrenheit. And if it's low, then we can bring those levers up to heat things up. Let's have a look at their labels again, because carburetor heat lever, carburetor air. Yeah, so I think moving these up, does that restrict the air then? Yeah, cold. So from cold going to hot. So if you want them hotter, you move the levers up. If you want the engine to cool, you're going to bring the levers down, or at somewhere in between, at any point in between. Right then, this should be fun. So we're going to be starting, I'm going to use the assisted start as opposed to hand cranking on this one. Let's put the parking brake on. That's the thing to bear in mind, guys, is the parking brake is not set when I get into the aircraft, and that could be because I forgot to switch it off last time, or it could be a default position. I don't know. So first we're going to make sure that these two switches are pointing down. This is your default state. This is cranked over onto the left. That's onto main. It looks like I left my magnetos on last time, like an idiot, and I left this down. So yeah, this is your master battery switch. It's in the pulled up position for off, and you push it down to switch the battery on. Landing lights are off. We've got a switch here for your seat belts and stuff, so we have, it's a weird switch, it goes both ways. So you've got, okay, so if it goes to the left, no smoking. If it goes to the right, seat belts on, and if it goes to the top, then both. Okay, whether that gets reflected back in the cabin, you know, the lights come on, I haven't checked. I really don't know. Maybe it does. So yeah, the sunroof. So we're going to be a sunroof. I'm just going to call it a sunroof. That's open for now. I'm going to make sure that I close that before I start moving, or at least before we take off. Definitely before we take off. Over here is your light switches, and you want to make sure that they're all off when you're finished with the plane. In other words, all pointing in the downward position. And also up here, make sure that your radio is up on the light. You can leave that on. That's got nothing to do with much. And this is your radio main power switch. You want to make sure that's off. Here we have the volume. Then we have the radio bands, which are listed here. And if we take a look at those, you'll see the different frequency ranges. This will all become clear, don't worry. So, if you want to choose a frequency of 483, you're going to be choosing band 3. Okay, so we'll just move this to, I think, does it go that way? Yeah, band 3. So there's band 3. Are we tuned in? I think so, yeah. Band 3. And now you can see the numbers. So I said 483, didn't I? I don't know why I picked that. If we just go this way, you'll see the frequency rising. 480. Then we have 81, 82. And there is frequency 483. Simple as that. I suppose I should start explaining the navigation before we crank this plane over. Okay, navigation. Let's bring the this down. I'm going to see if I can explain it to you from here. So this plane uses, I think it's called radio ranging, in order to navigate. Unfortunately, we do have some sunshine on here right now. Oops, went too far. So yeah, it's making this a little bit hard to see. But you'll see every radio range station has a separate quadrant, 4 of them. So if you draw a cross like this, some of the lines on the cross are going to be slightly off. Don't worry about that for now. As it happens, the one that we're traveling to isn't off. It's perfectly in a 0, 90, 180, 270 pattern, which is cool. So, rule of thumb to remember is this beacon transmits 2 Morse code signals. One of them is the letter A, which is a dot dash, which will be represented by me going beep beep. And then you have the other signal, which is the N, which is a dash dot, beep beep. Okay, so they are essentially a reverse of each other. One's a dot dash, one's a dash dot. So if you were to draw a dash and a dot on a piece of paper and then draw a dot and a dash above it, you'd essentially get a continuous dash if they were layered on top of each other. And that's what you get when you go bang in the middle. So then you'll hear a continuous tone. Beep. That's when you know you're flying directly towards one of the navigation points on the beacon here. Rule of thumb then: north, south, west, and east. If you're flying from north to south or from south to north, then A is going to be on your left and N is going to be on your right. As long as you remember that when you draw a cross, okay, not with this crooked leg, when you draw a cross, line down and a line across, okay, and you write the word an in the bottom sector, A, N, and you reverse it at the top, N, A, not, remember it how you like, not applicable, not available, or the word an, A-N, N-A. Then it's obvious in your mind that when you're coming from west to east or east to west, that it's going to be reversed. Now you've got N on your left and A on your right. Now, as it happens, when we take off, we're going to be flying from west to east. So we're going to be going along this way. So that means if I am too far left of where I need to be on this to come into this line, I'm going to hear beep, beep. I'm going to hear the N. If I'm too far to the right, I'm going to hear beep, 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 beep. Okay? I'm going to hear that continuously. And so I'm going to adjust my course to the left until I either start hearing a continuous tone or I might overshoot and start hearing the N instead. In which case, then I have to come back. And once I have the continuous tone, I know I have to maintain that heading, and that gets me to my destination. Now, the heading that I have to maintain, I'll already I think I'll pre-know that one. Like I'll be told what the heading is already. So I will already be privy to that information. What I don't know is my distance to the beacon. How close am I to it? So I believe when I fly past it, that tone's going to change because it's going to go. Actually, it's not going to. It's going to be continuous, isn't it? Yeah. So how do you know when you reach the beacon and gone past it? I don't know. Is the answer. It may go quieter because once you fly past here, now it's AN and not NA anymore. But it's still going to be a continuous tone because they're merging. A and N merged and N and A merged are still going to produce a continuous tone. So I'm not actually sure when you go past the beacon what happens, whether it gets quieter. I'm not actually sure. But yes, so if we take a look at where we're flying to, let me just show you. Well, I hope you guys can see this. I know it's not the biggest font in the world, but we're flying from Dodge here, Dodge City, and we're going along to, as you can see, forget this yellow line. We're not going to be following this yellow line, but this is our beacon here. This is where we're heading to, Hutchinson Beacon. And it says here, if you cannot see that, 284. That's the frequency we need to tune into on the radio. And the four radials, I'm going to call them radials or sections, the four quadrants, the north, south, east, west quadrants. Okay, you've got your north one, your west one, your east one, and your south one. And let's call them, there must be a word, there must be a proper term for it. But yeah, your four directions are 0, 90, 180, 270. That would make it a perfect cross then, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Well, yes, it would. And I can demonstrate this to you. Looking at the charts that are provided to us with the plane, this here is Hutchinson. Okay, let me just get rid of that. I don't know if you can see my mouse pointer here. I don't think so. Yeah, there we go. So on our right is Hutchinson. And as you can see, it is indeed a perfect cross. This one isn't. So instead of being 0, oh, 0's at the bottom. Let me work. Oh yeah, of course, because you're flying up towards the north, which is 0. And on this one, you'd be flying down towards the 180. On this one, you're flying over towards the 90. And on this one, you're flying over towards the 270. So we're actually flying on the 90. We have to head towards the 90. But this is T and M. Okay? So you've got 90 degrees true north and 86 degrees magnetic north. Apparently, from what I gather, the compasses in the plane are all magnetic north. So that would tell me that I need to fly on the 86 magnetic. I follow 86 degrees magnetic on my compass in the plane. And my perfect heading towards the beacon would be along this line. If it's over here, as we know, this is N, so it'll go beep beep, and if it's on the A side, it'll be beep beep. Now, as we're hearing these constant Morse code frequencies, or letters, shall we say, coming out of the radio, every now and again, that coding, whether you are on a continuous line, whether it's beeping A at you or N at you, it's going to be interrupted by the call sign of the station. This is H and N, which is ... which I assume is Morse code for H, and N, which is dash dot, and we know that that is Morse code for N. So H, N. So you might get, if you're on a continuous line, and I'm going to try and imitate this, if you're on a continuous line, you're going to get okay, so you've got your continuous line, then you'll have your station call out to let you know that it is the Hutchinson beacon you're heading for. Everyone's got its own its own frequency, its own code, sorry. So if I'm to the left then, as we know, A, N, N, A, okay? Or you can think about it diagonally, A, N, and N. As long as you remember that quadrant, it'll be the same here, A, N, A. It doesn't really matter which one you go to. Oh, sweetness. Okay, I can tell you which one it is. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. It's A, N, A, N. How do I know that? How do I know that's an A and not this one? That's a good... Well, I'll tell you. It's a good question. I'll tell you. It's because you see where it's shaded here? This shaded brown piece? That's the A side. So whichever side is the shaded side is the A side. And as you can see, these are shaded. This is shaded too. These ones have got no shading inside the lines at all. So these are N's. A, N, N. So if you're flying on the magnetic north, yes, if you're flying magnetic 40 degrees, then your A is going to be this side and your N is going to be that side. Back to Hutchinson then. I hope I'm not overcomplicating this. If I'm coming up on this way, or let's just say, let's do it the proper way, because we're going to be coming along this way, west to east anyway. So I am going to be flying this way. If I'm too far to the left in the N, as you can see, there is no brown line here, no brown shading, so this is N. If I'm coming in too much to the left, I'm constantly going to be hearing the N. Beep, 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 all the time. But it will be interrupted by Hutchinson's call sign, which happens to have an N in it. So every now and again, it's going to be beep, 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 beep. When the N is continuously relaying to you, or the A, there's kind of an interference noise behind it. It seems less clear. But when Hutchinson blows out its call sign, you'll hear the difference. And as you can see here, it says at the top, shaded area indicates the A side. So just remember that. Shaded area is the A side. Okay, so now we're all schooled on that one, right? We all know what we're doing. Okay. So if you look, let me just see. It matches. I've lost myself now. Yes, AN, NA. And it is showing the shaded side here, but we're losing a bit of quality here. But just so you know, when you consult the charts, when you consult your charts, if you always know which one is A and N because of the shaded sides. So it's really not that confusing. Let me just bring up my Acrobat here. There we go. So let's just pick another one. This one's a bit skewy. Look at this thing. Again, we know this segment is A, and we know this is A. They're always going to be diagonally opposed anyway. So if this is A, that has to be A. And then this is N, and that's N. So if you're flying towards this beacon, you're going to be flying, depending on which direction you're coming from, you're going to be flying on one of these four headings. Your aim is to get on one of these headings, all right, to hit the continuous tone. That's going to mean quite a bit of zigzagging in your plane, I would imagine. So if I was approaching from the south to the north to hit this beacon, I'm going to be flying at 325 magnetic, which is 344 true north. And if I'm slightly to the right, I'm going to hear beep, beep, which is A, because there's the A side. This is the N side. Okay? Please tell me that I've explained that well enough. Now, if we go back to little nav map, you will see that we're going to be approaching this beacon on the 90 degree, and we're going to have a frequency of 284 for this one. So we're heading towards the 90 degree. Yes, we are. We're heading towards the 90 degree. If you look at the compass like this, 0, 90, 180, and 270, this is the 90 on this side, on the east side here. And of course, we're heading to that. That's the one we're heading to, the 90. So, yeah. Fortunately for us, this is a perfect cross. It just happened that way. I didn't plan on that. It just happened that way. So, quite easily then, I hope, when we take off, hopefully we get a successful takeoff and flight. Once we do that, I start heading on the 90 degree. Now I know that if I start heading 90 degrees straight away, we're going to be way too far to the right, and we're going to be hearing the N tone the whole time. So I need to then turn and head to the left until I hear the continuous tone, because this is putting out a signal on the 0, the 90, then the 270 and the 180. So it should be easy. And I'm only using the one beacon here. I'm not going from, not a beacon, it's a radio range. I may end up calling it a beacon. If I was doing a longer flight, I might have to hit a couple of different ones along the way. Now, these TACAN radio range stations, there's another one here at Dodge City. These also come with the plane. So when you buy the plane, you also get these user points. And you go up to user points here in the program, and you just do import CSV, and you import the radio range stations, and you'll also import another one, which is music. And that gives you period music, 1930s, 1920s, 30s music. And we're going to try and tune that in, actually. I'm going to see if I can show you guys how to tune that in. And they are represented by the blue flags. So the beacons themselves, the radio ranging stations, are represented by these. They look like white underpants to me, but probably not. Yeah, so these shapes. These are your user points. These are the beacons we travel to. And it's always got the frequency followed by the four different headings. As you can see here, it's 89, 179, 269, and 359. And then we have these, which is the music. And this is KGNO radio station at frequency 1210. So, because we're at Dodge, we should be able to hear this music station straight away. So I'm going to try and tune into that and see if we can hear anything. 1210 before we set off. Okay. So that's how we navigate. Yes. Knowing the method and actually doing it, two different things. Alright, so let's get the plane started then. So we need to start up the left engine first, now that we know how to get to where we're going, because we're experienced navigators now. So I'm going to move my levers up first to get them out the way. So props up, mixture up, and 10% on the throttle. Just so. And it looks like I've left another number of switches on, which I shouldn't have left on. Okay, that's back to default. I want to make sure that everything's at default so that I'm going through every step with you guys along the way. Alright. Before we start the engines, we need to load the plane up with passengers and cargo. So let's do that. So we do it from here. Now we're not topped up with oil, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to add oil here. You can use plus and minus. Always make sure your oil's topped up. This is your fuel, which you can add or remove from each tank. I'm happy with this. Does it tell us exactly how much we have on each wing here? 70 gallons and 66 gallons. But okay, that's not dynamically moving. So I don't know exactly how much we've got here, but they're nearly full. And this one isn't. This one is 136 gallons, represented on the dials behind us, as we've seen before. I want to make sure that we have a pretty good balance here between the two. And this is why I wanted to... Yeah, okay, so 70 plus 66 is 136. 130... Wait a minute. Yeah, we need to fill this up. Okay, so that's 136 on that side. And that's 136 on that side. But if I start removing, because I don't need this much fuel, how do I know how much I'm leaving in the plane? Like if I bring that down to half tank, and then bring this down to half a tank. So we should be on, oh that's not, oh yeah, because they're different, 66 gallons. So yeah, that's 50% fuel then. That should be enough. Now, who's on the plane? Myself, my co-pilot, the stewardess, and we've got 2 VIPs to bring on board. So we're going to plonk one guy there and one guy there. Now, they're in orange, which means they're not on the plane yet. Also be aware that these passengers are not graphically represented in the cabin, so don't go looking back in the cabin to look and see if there's any passengers actually there. There isn't. Mail, this is represented graphically, as is the cargo, so we're going to have one mail bag in there, and also if we wanted to put some luggage in the back, which we do, which is these guys' luggage, then we've got that. So now we've added another 50 kilos. Okay, so our gross weight is 4926, which is the empty weight of the plane, the crew, the passengers, and the baggage. Comes to this, then add the fuel and the oil. We have a 5-ton takeoff weight. Okay, so in order to make all these changes, we just click on Make It So. And now if we go outside the plane, we should start seeing, if I hadn't already opened the nose and done all of this, then they would have all got done anyway. This door has to open at some point to put the luggage in. So we'll see all that happening in real time. There we go. See even the flaps getting open and closed on the plane. It's all getting prepped. And if I was to open the nose now, you should see... Does the cargo happen already? No. There we go. So there's some suitcases going on board. Now we're just going to make sure that everything's on board. There we go. This is all happening as you watch it. Oh, he's in a hurry. Okay. So they're all doing that, removing the baggage cart. Now then, if we open the front cargo door and the baggage rear, I think that's the 2 correct doors. Is it? Oh, baggage cart, sorry, rear. rear door, rear cargo door, front cargo door, rear cargo door. Okay, so he's doing that. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go into the drone camera, and if we go to the front of the plane, there should be a mailbag in there. And there it is. So we're taking some mail with us. There's the cranking handle for the engine, in case you wonder where it came from. And then down here, there should be some luggage. And it is period. In other words, old type suitcases. I need to slow this drone camera down a little. Okay, and the more luggage you put in, the more this fills up, as you would expect. So that's the two VIPs' luggage. Brilliant. Actually, while I'm in the drone, I just want to make sure that if I need to use it again in flight, that it's in a decent position. That makes sense to me. A useful position. There we go. All right then. So, let's get these away. You'll notice now that the wheel chocks have been put on the plane. We're going to need to remove those before we get going. Yeah, let's do it now. You'll notice also the passengers have now turned green because they're on board. But as I said, unfortunately, not unlike Concorde, we don't get to see the passengers actually inside. They're not in there. There's just a row of empty seats. Bit of a shame, but nevertheless, it doesn't matter. All right. So now, before we wind up the flywheel with the assisted start, let's switch everything on. So, first thing then, battery master switch, and we're going to put the... Actually, I'm going to leave the radio switch off for now. Now, I think the radio does operate with these switches off, but I'm going to put them on regardless. Here I want the nav lights on. It's a nice day, I think, so I'm going to leave the pitot heat off for now. I don't think we're going to need any other lights. I want to put the compass light on just in case. Cabin lights, I don't think the passengers are going to need cabin lights today. It's quite bright. Yeah, I think we're good. So I'm going to leave the radio power off so that we're not getting all the beeps every 2 minutes, or continuously, I should say. But it's going to certainly annoy us. So power on here, and the light, we'll put it on, we'll light it up anyway, and we've got the volume control, which I've got it set to max. I will try and adjust that so it's not too annoying, because we are going to be hearing Morse code or a continuous beep throughout the flight. But luckily for you, this isn't a live stream, and therefore you won't be subjected to the entire flight. At least I don't think so. It's 101 nautical miles. I don't know how long that's going to take. I think it's about 28 minutes, the flight. Okay, so we've done that. So next thing we want to do, we've got de-ice here and pitot heat there. As I said, we're okay. We are at 71 degrees Fahrenheit. Let's just make sure we're using the correct oil for this temperature. So between 20 and 95 Fahrenheit, we want to be using SAE30. As you can see, we are using SAE30. Doesn't need topping up because I did that previously. But if you didn't top up the oil here, you could do so here by just clicking top up, and then it will fill these tanks. Now, if you need to put a different oil in, as you may know, there are 4 different oils that you can use. If I click oil change, you can pick which one you use based on the temperature outside, which is given to you by that dial, which I think is hidden behind this, the one we just looked at. So always make sure you got the right oil in, and always make sure you've got it topped up. Okay, that's important. Okay. Oh, by the way, in case you need it, Even though all the dials are in Fahrenheit, if you click this, it will go to Celsius. But as I said, all the dials are in Fahrenheit anyway, so time to get used to Fahrenheit. And you can go through all of these if you want, placing the oil pans, getting the ladder. But if you click on any of those buttons, oil change, it'll all get done for you. Okay. So we're ready to wind up the flywheel. Okay, so let's get everything else prepared now. Oh boy. So tank selector, we're going to switch to the left tank, start draining fuel from the left. So I think after every 10 minutes of flight, I'm going to try and remember to do this. I'm going to fly for 10 minutes, then switch to the right tank. Fly for 10 minutes, switch back to the left tank. This bottom one is the auxiliary. So if you find yourself running out of fuel, you can switch to the auxiliary, and I'd probably like to look at that as a reserve tank. But yeah, so left, 10 minutes, onto the right, 10 minutes, onto the left, just to keep the amount of fuel in each wing balanced, so your plane's not veering to one side or the other. Engine distribution, we have left, we have right, and we have both, and we have off as well. Again, we have two offs. We're going to be sticking it on both. Okay, here you've got your light rheostats, so this is the amount of light. Once the light switches are on for the dials and whatnot, this is the amount of light. These are all set to maximum for me. So, mixture is up, prop is up, battery is on, tank left, engine is set to both. Okay, so we're going to start up the left engine first. So let's switch both magnetos on, and the master ignition switch is down. Now, before we go any further, I want to draw your attention to these dials here. This is the fuel pressure, and we're going to be looking at somewhere between 3 to 5 pounds per square inch of fuel pressure in order to start the plane. In order to get that, we're going to be moving this wobble pump backwards and forwards in order to boost up the pressure. Now once you get to 5 and you stop wobbling, as you're going through the startup procedure, the pressure is going to start slowly falling. If it falls too much, the way I look at it is 5 is directly up and 3 is near where the screw is. So just leave the needle anywhere between these 2 points, and if you need to wobble during the start procedure, then by all means wobble to your heart's content. Let's choose left engine. Primer master is on, and now we're going to prime the engine 3 or 4 times. So let's see if I can work this thing. So 1 plunge, 2 plunge, 3 plunge, 4 plunge. Okay, we got 4 plunges primed. We can already switch it to the right engine if we want, but we'll leave it for now. So nav light is on to let people know that we're going to start the engine. Now, let's bring the clipboard down. And we've got 3 things to look at here. This button, and then this one when it goes green. The fuel pressure for the left engine and the wobble pump. So let's start wobbling, and we want to get it up to where the needle is vertical, and wind the flywheel. Keep an eye on this needle. It'll take a while because they've got to put the ladder and do the whole thing. Do the ladder, the crank handle has to go in, but as soon as they start cranking, to wobble. Okay, back up to 5 again. We should be okay there. Now we can mesh the flywheel. Just wait. Go. And we have an engine start. Great stuff. Whew. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the right-hand engine. And that's it. My magneto's already set on the right, it's already on, that's on. So now let's prime. 1, 2, 3, 4. That squirted some fuel in. And now we're going to be watching this pressure on this side. Get it up to the top there. And wind up the flywheel. So keep an eye on the needle. There's the propeller. And as you see the engine cranking, just top it up. Top up the wobble pump, so to speak. Wobble it up a little bit. Okay, it's this dial that we're keeping an eye on here, this one. And we have a second engine start. Excellent. So now we can, just out of doing our homework, put everything back down to normal. And now we have, well, what we need to do now is wait for the oil temperature to get to a good temperature. Let's not go out on cold oil. So this is currently sitting at 120. This one is still going up. So while we're waiting for that, we don't want it to go beyond 160, so we're going to keep an eye on that. If the oil temperature rises too much, then we're going to have to move these oil shutter levers down. Now, engine temperature, as you can see, is cold, so we're going to induce some heat into that in a second. Let me just close this. I like to grab it here from the end points to make sure. If you don't lock these in, it will open. That's it, that's not going to open now. Okay, some good soundproofing on that glass, I have to say. So there is the fuel pressure. Oil pressure, which is, I guess, building. Now the oil temperature on the left is getting just a tiny bit uncomfortable. So we're just going to bring this shutter lever down just a little. See if we can help that. I don't want it to go too high. I'll bring those down to around halfway, I think. And for the carburetor heat, I'm going to open those right to the top to hot. Sugar. It's hard to grab the right one here. Okay. Now we should see the temperature here climb, I hope. So manifold pressure on the left engine is this, and manifold pressure on the right engine is about the same by the looks of it. Okay. Oil temp on the left engine is a little bit high for me. Let's put it right down and see what it does. It's still within safety limits, I think, but I don't want to go above 160. Maybe we need to be on the move. Okay. So, checking the fuel then. Okay, now we need to taxi out. Don't know is the route. Okay, so we're going to need to turn to our right then. I'm going to take off north. So engine damage and all that stuff is off. So if I do let the temperatures go beyond what they should be, I don't think we're going to get an engine fire. I'm just doing a very quick pushback here. so oil temperature's maintaining quite nicely there. Engine temp, I'm not sure quite why that hasn't gone up more. I mean, we have closed these. Let's bring this down to around halfway because we're going to be taking off and it's going to be a lot colder out there. But I just want to make sure up there. But I just want to make sure that we're all okay here. I am tapping it, but it's not. Okay. Right then. So we need to taxi our way out of here. So I think, oh, why have the taxi lights come on? Okay, I'm not sure why that's on. So parking brake off. We just need to employ a little bit of throttle. Did we get the wheel chocks removed? I suppose they would have to have been in order for us to have taxied. Sometimes this plane moves of its own accord, like it is now. So, ground handling of this plane is tricky. I don't know whether that's a realistic thing, or whether it's just Microsoft's handling of it. I'm not going to be going that way, by the way. So we still need to tune in frequencies and also the music. We can have a look at the music now then, I guess, while we're on the taxiway. See if the music kicks in. It's frequency 1210, as I recall. Look, it just wants to keep on turning, even though I start turning a different way. Alright, let's put the brakes on. Dubious about this engine temperature, why it hasn't gone up. Oil temps are down to 100 now, so we'll have to keep an eye and make sure that they don't go too low. In fact, what might be an idea for me is to just put these up to halfway as well. Keep them all at halfway. Alright, so radio power is on. Now then, on the radio you have this CW off. When CW is on, that's your navigation. That's all your Morse code beepity beep beeps. When it's off, you've got your music. So, to tune into the radio that we have here at 1210, we need to go to band 6. I've never tried this, so I'm assuming it's going to work. Band 6, and we need to be tuned to 1210, which is up this way, basically just sliding the mouse to the right until it goes off the end of your monitor. So that's 1225, 20, 15, 10.
And let the sun shine through. My honey dear, while I kiss away each tear, or else I shall be melancholy too.
I hope I don't get a copyright strike. I don't know why, but I feel like I should be doing this in black and white now. I don't know whether this will be copyrighted, this video now. It may be. I'd feel a bit hard done by if it was. How cool is this, though? There are There are music frequencies across the United States here. Different ones, all different ones, and there's a couple outside, but they're fictional. Oh my god, I love it. Uh-oh. Guys, what the hell? Everything just stopped. I don't know why. I wonder if it was something to do with me going into the back view there. Okay, I'm going to do a fake engine start then. Because I don't know what the hell just happened there. No idea what I just did. Don't know. I'm just trying to get onto the runway. I shouldn't have gone into the back of the plane. Years later, guys, we would have rap music, Adele, Billie Eilish, I'm trying to think of a male singer, Chris Stapleton, and Humphrey. I need to reverse here, guys, I think. Actually, no, we're okay. I believe the frequency we need to tune into now is 284. See, once you swing to one side, it's so tricky to get it back to the other side. So I'm going to try and stay on 10% throttle. Because if I don't, that might be what's killing the engine. I don't know. Okay. So I just want to make sure that we have the correct frequency on the radio. 284 is correct. So we have to lose the music, guys, as we now have to switch to band 2. We've got a 284, which is on band 2. And we need to tune into 284. Is it? That's there. 280, 281, 282, 283, 284. Why has that made it go away? It is 284, but I'm getting a better. That's the ... You hear that continuous tone in the background? Like that? Just underneath the actual beeps? So that's ... So that's an A. Telling us that we're too far to the right, which is correct. But I don't know, I'm not getting it on that exact frequency. So I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll leave it on the exact frequency. And we'll take off. And we'll see if we can hear it once we're up in the air. Okay. Brakes off. I should put my landing lights on and then take them off. beforehand, so we can do that. Okay, there they are on the wing. Okay, let's see if we can get a successful takeoff. I'm starting to push the throttle forward a bit more. A lot of yaw correction needed here. She can be tricky and floaty taking off here. More throttle. More. I'm now at the maximum, and she's tricky. Tricky on the ground she is. Once I reach 60, I can then start taking off. Okay, we're drifting a little. As you can see, by the windsock, there's a little bit of a wind approaching from our west. Okay, so gear up then. So I'm going to need to retune that frequency because we're a little bit off. And now we need to start heading to... I can just about hear it. But now we need to get to 90, I think it is, right? So I'm looking at this and also the compass. We want it to say east. That's like pretty much bang on east. We are going to end up to the right of the beacon. Okay, so that's less or more east, isn't it? Almost. All right. Let's see if we can get this tuned in a little bit easier. Okay, so that's a dot and a dash, which means we're too far to the right. So we're gonna turn to our left until we get a continuous tone. Monitoring, of course, temperatures and pressures. Again, this is hello. Oil temps. Looking okay. Dot, 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 dash, dot. That's Hutchinson's frequency. And now you can hear it's more beep, beep. It's like it's singing. It's almost like, excuse me. It's almost like when it's telling you the A and the N frequencies, or, yeah, not frequencies. The A and the N is coming at you. It's more singing it, where the actual station identifier doesn't have that singing tone. It's more staccato. You'll hear it now. Dot dash, dot dash. It's almost singing it to you, and then. Here, no more singing, it's just, and now back to singing again. So we are not heading east, we're heading a little bit north, just slightly north. Northeast we're heading, I would say. Until this becomes either a continuous tone or we get the N. If I overshoot, then I have to recorrect again. also want to use my pitch trims, because I think we're a little high at the moment. So I'm just going to leave go of the joystick and see what happens. Okay. That's the identifier. I'm just looking at my climb rate, which is the needle below the blue dial, below the blue one, this one. It's very sensitive though, guys. Probably easier. Okay, so while we're doing all of that stuff, I'm going to come down on my props just a little. And the mixture, maybe just a tad as well. And the throttles can come down as well a tad. Keep the temperatures down so we're not pushing everything too much. But we're gaining some altitude here that I don't want to gain. Now, according to little nav map, we're not far away from being in line with the beacon. We are a little bit out, but I'm gonna stay with it, guys, until we get online. Did that sound continuous? It's starting to get there, isn't it? You hear it? It's continuous in the background, but it's got an A still, so we're not quite there yet. We can still hear the A, but there is a little continuous tone in the background, which means we're starting to hear the N coming in. The N is just starting to overlap the A. There's the identifier. There it is. Which we know is dot, 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 dash, dot. I'm going to continue here. You'll see that here is the beacon, and if we follow it, it's exactly on this white line, and our plane is nearly at that white line, and that should be pretty much where the continuous tone is. I'm trying not to look at little nav map, but I just want to make sure that I'm doing it all right, that I'm not heading in some strange direction, that we are heading northwest. To just lose some altitude here, I think. In fact, I'm going to press the B key because I forgot to do that. I forgot to set the altimeter correctly. Okay, I'm happy with this altitude, guys. So I'm going to adjust the pitch trim to try and keep the plane level. Mouse wheel thing I have on the joystick here, which makes it in very small increments. I have a wheel on the throttle which does it in large increments, and then a wheel on my joystick to do it in small increments, so I can be very accurate. We're starting to head a little bit more north now, so I just want to correct that. You can still hear the A in the background. And the continuous tone is also there with it. So it's starting to merge now. Oh, that continuous tone is starting to get louder and starting to drown out the A as we're getting closer to that 90-degree heading. Oh, landing lights can come off. trying to decide if I hear the N. I'm barely hearing it. I'm going to start turning more towards the east now. Don't forget, you do get interrupted by that station identifier. I'm just watching my compass here. Do we have a... I don't know whether we have a view for the compass. I don't think so. I'll have to set one up. You can still hear little beeps in the background. And yes, you have to listen to this the whole time. Engine temperature seems low. I don't know why that's not working. They should be around 200, I mean, these are really, we're really moving on these engines now. When it says hot, do you move it there, you move it there to get it hot, not because it is hot, I think. So I'm trying to stay 6,500 feet, something along those lines. Light on that compass, the glint on that compass isn't helping me. Directional gyro drift correction. I think I'm going to have to employ some of that, because we should be at 270 now. Actually, not quite. Where's that coming from? We shouldn't even be able to hear that. That never happened. Unless, of course, we retrofitted a radio. Okay, there we go. So when I'm east, I want that to say 270. We are still getting a dot dash, so we are slightly to the right still. So let's see if we can just correct a little more. Oil temperature is very low. Pressure seems to be through the roof for some reason. Is that because the temperature's low? See, these are things I don't quite know about the plane, and I don't know whether having the oil pressure that high would have damaged the plane had I been using the realistic mode. Still hearing that A though. So things I'm confused about is why the engine temperature is not even functioning, seemingly. And also why the oil pressure has gone up to the maximum and the oil temperature is dropped down. though we've got everything closed and up to the max here. Oil shutter lever is now on close, so the shutters are closed, which I think is preventing air getting into it, I believe.
Delta Charlie traffic, FlexJet 5311 miles southeast, inbound, visual runway 32. Delta Charlie.
Oh, that ATC, how is that even possible?
To land.
And how is it possible that I'm not yet in line with the beacon? I should be. That's continuous, isn't it? Maybe you don't hear it just continuous without a slight overlap of A's and N's. Maybe it doesn't get quite that accurate. So we're flying east now on the 270, which is, well, shouldn't we be at a different? Trying to figure out if there's a magnetic and a true here, but I think we're okay. I'm just going to mess around with the map a second. Yeah, so it'll be 85 magnetic. 86 magnetic, I think it is. Am I drifting off? A little bit. Alright guys, so there's quite a way to go, to be honest. I'd probably, considering I have to manually fly this, I've got 71 nautical miles to go. So I'm going to keep this going, and I'll get back to you. See you in a bit. Okay, we're back. This is the tone I'm hearing. This is what I've been hearing most of the flight. I can't tune it in any better. Still not at 284 though, but I know I'm heading in the right direction. I think I'm slightly, if anything, I'm slightly to the right, so I should be hearing the beep beep, sorry, wrong one, beep beep, the A, but I'm hearing all of this, so I'm guessing this is what the continuous tone sounds like. Because we're pretty much up-tuned this. This is 270. We're heading east. I've also tuned in this view. Which I customized. And I know we're on target. Now, when we get past the beacon, it's soon going to be time to turn for the airfield. So I hope I can discern a tone change once we get there. Now, if I keep tuning this, oh, is it working on 284 now? No, it's not. That's 284. Works better there. I know, weird, right? And I keep drifting to the left when I start doing stuff. That's okay, we're not drifting too much. Now I can compensate for that with this. But then you got your aileron trim here. made this, I think I've turned this so that when 27 is red here, east is red there. So we're pretty much on par at the moment. I'm not quite sure how many miles we have to go. If I need to emergency land, we're coming up to Mills Field on our right. Still trying to maintain around 6,000 feet. We're currently 4,800 according to the little nav map, but that's not what it reads down here. Oh yeah, 5,800. No, it is 4,800, sorry. I thought 6 was at the bottom. Yeah. So, it's time to descend actually. According to the profile on this, it's time to descend. So I will do that. And I will start heading onto 27 again. I just follow the lines here. These perspective lines on the fields, they seem to be perfectly in line with north, south, east, west. Kind of like city blocks in the United States, everything's square. Like a big noughts and crosses, or tic-tac-toe if you wish. Underneath all those beeps and bleeps, there is a continuous tone. And I think what we're hearing is a merging of the N and the A overlaid with that. So it's said to keep the revs at around 2,000, which I have been doing. So we're coming up to the beacon, like now. Just watching my airspeed there, which has climbed a bit. I'm going to drop my throttle. Now, I happen to know for a fact we're coming up to the beacon, or radio range station. You hear how quiet it's getting? That's how you know you've gone past it. It must be. So now the airport must be on our left, because it's just over there somewhere. So we need to turn. It's runway 31. Normally I would have a heading plotted out for this, but you see how we got really quiet? That's how you knew you were over it. So now we need to make the turn. I'm going to bring the gear out, try to anyway. So it goes down to neutral and then all the way to the bottom. Now I'm going to throttle right down. Be an airfield around here somewhere. Oh God. Oh, there it is. Is that it? Yeah, it is. We're overshooting it. Okay, let's get some serious movement on here then. And some throttle. I want to make sure that I'm looking at my airspeed here. We've slightly overshot it. I don't need that anymore. No flaps on this, guys. No flaps. It is what it is. You get what you pay for. Good thing with this, even though we've got a small wheel at the back, I believe on this plane you can actually hit the main brakes without too much fear of the rear wheel going up in the air and flipping you over. but I'm still going to play it a bit cautious. No reverse thrusters. Yeah, no surprise there then. So, Hutchinson Regional. I need a bit more speed. So I'm throttling up a little here. Don't want to drop below 60. I don't know what the stall speed is on this. This is my dial. This is my baby right now. It does feel slow. Feels like it could drop out of the sky at any moment. And I'm just hoping it doesn't. I figured out how to get my engine temperature shown, by the way. I have to move the little mouse onto the C position. Here, there. Anyway. Please let me land safe. Okay, dropping the throttle again now. Don't want to land short either. No flaps, so it is pretty good at keeping itself in the air though. Okay, a little flare here as we drop the throttle now. Right down. Come on, sweetheart. Oh, butter. Absolute butter. I'm gonna hit a few signs, but hey, it has got some drift on it, this thing. Well, somehow we got here. It's actually a taxiway here. I'm going to turn it anyway. It doesn't like tight turns. It really doesn't. It slows itself down a lot. That's another runway, actually. Shall we cheat? We'll cheat a little bit. We'll cheat a little bit and go across the grass. It's a vintage plane. Get a look, get a few perks. Oh no. Have I got a parking anywhere? Which is not that small, eh? Compared to these. Okay, so now we have to kill the engines. Look at everything shaking. Alright, now, make sure everything is switched off. Could have put the landing lights on, but at the moment, I'm too busy thinking about getting this thing down. Getting everybody safe. Yes, I couldn't sort out the oil pressure and why it was so high. I don't know if that's normal or what. I'm really not too sure on that. Now I did crank this over. It looks... Oh no, it looks kind of okay there. Supposed to be right in the middle. Yeah, I cranked it over one way or the other. Landing lights, I forgot to put them on. Seat belts, well. So, magnetos. Master ignition switch, battery off, off, brakes are on. Think that is everything. Okay. And now we can deboard, is that the correct word? Deboard the passengers and the mail. So what we want to do is we want to tell it to take him out, We want to take the mail out. It looks like oil is still there full, which I'm surprised about. But I also want to put some more fuel back in the tank. We didn't use too much fuel, to be fair. And of course we can take their luggage out. So luggage is out, mail, express mail is out, 2 passengers out, fill the 2 tanks, back up to halfway, keep the oil topped up, which it looks like it already is anyway for some reason. I thought we'd lost a bit, but we didn't. Okay, would you do all that now, please? And now that's all going to happen. Luggage, mail, everything going to be sorted. And that is how you do it. As I learn more about flying from beacon to beacon, although I think what happens is when you fly beacon to beacon, I would imagine that when you get to the first beacon, it'll go quiet, and then you'll know to go on your next heading, which you'll already know what that heading is, because the beacon you're going to fly to next might say 186 true on magnetic north, and then you fly on that magnetic heading to capture the next beacon, and you just keep doing that until you get to your destination. This is old school stuff, and I have to say that around this area I don't see any. Around Hutchinson area I'm not seeing any blue flags on the map, which means no radios. Oh, there is one. I don't know how far away it is. There's a radio station. Oh, let's see if we can tune it in. It's the same frequency apparently, 1210. Is it? KGNO? Oops, hold on. Oh, you can't see this. I'm going to show you the map, what I'm looking at here. So here we are on this map, and the radio station, the actual old-time radio station, is just here. You can see the blue flag there. I'm trying to tune it in here. So, oh, actually, KFH 1300. Okay, just for fun. Let's see if we can pick it up. Get back in the plane. Everything done here? Everything is done. I didn't even see the luggage cart come along, or this one. But yeah, it's all gone. Alright, so we're going to need battery and radio. These apparently are disconnected whether you switch them on or not. So I don't think these are doing anything right now. Okay, so radio on, battery on. That should be all we need. So up here, then I'll leave the radio switch on. So this is off at the moment, which means it'll pick up music as opposed to nav. And we want to tune into 1300, which as we can see here is band 6. So let's go to band 6. There it is. And we want to tune to 1300 to pick this station up. Will it work? Just make sure all the ashtrays are empty and closed. Yep. No Nobody's left anything on board. Something I want to have a look at here before we go. They do come on. This sounds like music from a Laurel and Hardy film. Come on, sing, sing, sing. I want singing. Bid you farewell, guys. I hope the video helped, and I'll see you next time.